So the world is covered by 72% water, and the UN has defined deep sea as anything deeper than 200 meters. That's about 660 feet and deeper. And that is about 98% of our oceans. We have discovered less than 5% of that. We know more about the surface of the moon than we know about our deep seas. And so this is a great place to start exploring. I was an island school student in 2006, and I fell in love with this place, and I fell in love with the idea of collecting research and learning about science in that way versus learning in a textbook. It's a great place to bring students to and actually show them this ecosystem that we don't know anything about. So every day is exploration. The Deepwater project started in 2011 to 2012. We mostly focused on deep water long lines. So we would send these long lines to the deep sea and capture different kinds of sharks and fish, and looked at their ecosystem, where they lived in the depth and what temperatures. So I used two different methods in order to really understand the ecosystem down there. I use traps, deep water traps, and I use two cameras. One is called the Medusa and the Pegasus that can go down to 1,000 meters. The deep water traps are just a basic crab trap. We've attached two traps to it with a cement weight on the bottom, and it has a circle trap and a square trap and a temperature depth recorder at the top. These traps will soak for 24 hours, and then we'll go back and retrieve the traps. Seeing what comes up to the surface is really exciting. Unfortunately, a lot of our sampling is lethal with the traps because we're bringing up organisms from such an extreme environment to another very extreme tropical environment, and that change is really detrimental. But we can get a lot of data just from the organism itself. We can get DNA, we can look at dissections, we can look at their stomachs, we can see if there's plastics inside their stomachs. What sizes are they immature and what sizes are they mature? And so there's a huge variety of data that we can collect when we get the organisms in our hands. Then the second method I'm using is the Pegasus, that's actually sitting behind me. It's a deep water camera that can go down to 1,000 meters. This camera can capture live video of these organisms. So I can analyze and see what kind of organisms are attracted or in the area and attracted to the bait source. It only takes about 20 minutes to get out to about 500 meters and deeper, where in most places it takes a big vessel, a huge budget, and more than 24 hours to get to these deep water ecosystems, like in the Gulf of Mexico. Not only are we really lucky to explore this ecosystem that is really close proximity to shallow water, but we are able to do it at a pretty attainable budget. I try to include visiting groups from NASA to the United States to Canada, from all over the world that come down here in every part of my research.
Actually, so this is 20 up here, and this is 21 right here, this line.
A lot of these groups that come through don't know anything about the deep sea, so I can give the same lecture to 5-year-olds to 20-plus-year-olds and even full adults that know nothing about this deep sea ecosystem. And every single time, most people never even thought about it until they started coming here and seeing these organisms in their hands, or coming out and seeing what it is like to jump in the deep sea and see nothing but blue. Even though I'm hand hauling and I've done it over 100 times, I'm still excited to see what's going to come up. It could be a shark, it could be something I've never seen before, it could be something that's new to this whole ecosystem in the world, a new species. It could just be another bag of isopods too, but every single time it's exciting because you don't know what you're going to find. You're going to learn something every time. when you become a scientist, learning about all these organisms that you never thought could possibly happen is exhilarating. And that is why I want to continue doing a lot of this more deep sea research.